So in this video, we are going to talk about the assumptions in regression. In the earlier video, we have seen the basics of the regressions and as well as the least square estimation. Okay, so as you know, the regression is a parametric kind of the supervised learning. So it is always better to have the assumptions so as to implement the best regression models. So in this connection, just let me introduce some of the aspects you can assume so as to expect the quality or best regression lines. Okay. Regression is a parametric approach. Parametric means here makes assumption about data for the purpose of the analysis. The first and foremost important assumption is the linear and additive property. Effect of one variable x1 on y is independent of other variables. So suppose we're having x1, x2, x3, x1 effect on y, x2 effect on y are different. That is what you call the linear and as well as the additive. And second thing is there should be no correlation between the residual terms. Residual means error terms, friends. Epsilon 1, epsilon 2, epsilon 3, likewise multiple error terms you can have. So that is what you call the autocorrelation. In case of the time series analysis, you can observe this kind of the correlation. And next important thing is the independent variable should not be correlated. What do you mean by independent variable? Okay, x1, x2, x3, all these things, those things must be not correlated, and error terms must have the constant variance. So variance, if I am talking about if constant variance is there, then that is what you call the homoscedasticity. And if you are having the variance in the non-constant manner, that is what you call the heteroscedasticity. Heteroscedasticity. Okay. And finally, error terms must be normally distributed. See, these are all 5 assumptions, and let me talk about each and every individual assumptions. Linear and additive properties. If you fit a linear model to a non-linear or non-additive data set, the regression algorithm would fail to capture the 10 mathematically, thus resulting in an inefficient model. So if you are referencing the dependency of multiple independent variables on dependent variable, so the final outcome is inefficient. So how to identify this? Look for residual versus fitted value plot. So whatever the plots we have observed, based on that particular thing, you can identify whether there is any linear or additive property. And how to fix this? You can include polynomial terms x square x cube in your model to capture non-linear terms. Okay, so this is how you can observe the linear and as well as the additive property. And coming to the second one, which is autocorrelation. The presence of autocorrelation in error terms drastically reduces model accuracy and occurs in especially the time series models where the next instant is dependent on previous instant. If error terms are correlated, the estimated standard errors tend to underestimate the true standard errors. So the errors, if we could not track properly, and we cannot expect the better model. How to identify? For this, we're having 2 methods, friends. One is look for Durbin-Watson statistic. It must lie between 0 and 4. For example, this test is equal to 2. If it is returning 2, there is no autocorrelation. If the value is in between 0 and 2, there is a positive autocorrelation. If it is between 2 to 4, there is a negative autocorrelation. So between 0 and 4, you can observe various kinds of the values, and based on that value, you can conclude whether there is any correlation exists in positive or negative, whether there is no correlation. Okay, and that is a first method. And the second method is estimation of the residual versus time plot. Okay, and how to fix it? So in simple notation, so add or delete variables, that is a first method. And second method is increasing the temporal period, that is maybe daily to weekly or weekly to monthly. In case of time series, we need to have some time kind of the constraints. So that one you can increase so as to avoid this kind of situation. And third one, adjusting error by first differencing and multiplying the autocorrelations. So errors, whatever the differencing we are having and multiplying the autocorrelations will give the betterment when compared with the previous one. Okay, right. Coming to the third option, multi-collinearity. In a model with correlated variables, it becomes a tough task to figure out the true relationship of predictors with a response variable. If multi-collinearity is there, this is the problem. And automatically standard errors tend to increase. But how to identify? There is a first method, friends, which is a variable inflation factor. If it is less than or equal to 4, there is no multi-collinearity. If it is a VAF, that is variable inflation factor, is greater than or equal to 10, then there is a serious problem of multi-collinearity. And second method, with the help of the correlation matrix also, you can identify the multi-collinearity. But how to fix this? How to fix this? So the fixation, you can observe the highly correlated predictors from the model. So whatever the correlation we are having, we can remove those particular predictors. And second and most important aspect is principal component analysis. That is the PCA, which is unsupervised learning. So with the help of these two notations, you can fix up this multi-collinearity. Coming to the fourth one, which is heteroscedasticity related to the variance. A non-constant variance resulting a heteroscedasticity arises in presence of extreme values or outliers. If your data set is containing extreme or outlier, then you can say there is a possibility of entering these heteroscedasticity. How to identify? The first method is the common thing, residual versus fitted values plot. If plot exhibits funnel shape, then the pattern is heteroscedasticity issue exists. So the funnel shape, all data points are grouped and it is referencing the funnel shape, then you can say that is the first method. With the help of this particular shape, we can identify the heteroscedasticity. And there exists one more test, Cook-Weisberg or White General test or Brush-Pagan. Okay, these are all common names, friends. And the fixation of these particular thing, the first method is weighted least square regression. So you can give the weights of the corresponding points and you can implement the regression. As earlier we have seen least square, how to find out. So the difference between actual and as well as the predicted notation. And the second method is logarithmic transformation can be applied to highly skewed variables, count variables. We can use a square root transformation. So this is the second methodology so as to handle this heteroscedasticity. And finally, if you are referencing the normal distribution of error terms, because if you are referencing the fifth point, so if you are referencing the error terms must be normally distributed in the assumptions. So if you observe this particular fifth one, so if error terms are non-linearly distributed, okay, then interval may become too wide or narrow, the class interval. So if you are referencing the distribution, so automatically we may end up with the abnormal distributions. How to identify? QQ plots are there. Plots I will talk in a later point of time, friends, because the many plots were there. So just we'll see those particular plot in another video. So the second method is Kolmogorov and Sprimnov test, Shapiro or Wilk test. So these are all various tests, and fixation of these particular thing is transform the response or predicted variables with the help of square root, log, or inverse function kind of thing. So these particular things are the general principles related to this distribution of the error terms. Okay, and after getting these particular things, how to select variables in the regression? So there exists various factors, friends: forward selection, backward elimination, and stepwise regression. So forward selection, as the name implies, adding variables one by one to the corresponding model. So starts with a single variable, then add other variables one at a time based on AIC. Okay, ACAIC information criteria model performance metrics or measures. These things were already seen in the previous videos, like model performance metrics. Okay, and backward elimination, start with all variables iteratively, removing those variables of low importance based on AIC values. Okay, this is the backward elimination. And stepwise regression, just we are making use of both forward and as well as the backward elimination. So whenever there is a requirement of adding the values, then you can add. And sometimes you feel after getting some kind of the predictions, maybe some of the variables may not contribute to the model generation, then you can go with the elimination. So this is in the bidirection regression. One in a way you can add the variables, and in a way you can eliminate the same. Okay, and these are all the things I want to discuss with you, friends, related to the assumptions in regression, which are very important in the community of the data science and machine learning perspective. And these things, we may not apply all these 5 simultaneously, but the thing is, based on the requirements, you can identify whether you can go with this either of these particular things. Okay. Thank you.